chaos.
This is fantastic. Larry, come here. Come here. Welcome to Oral Sessions, everybody, starring Larry. It's not always smooth sailing. We've got a dog here. There was a baby here moments ago. So if it gets loud, it's going to get loud. Mm-hmm. It's a family program.
I'm sure you're used to that.
Yeah, constantly.
New mom, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
You're killing it.
Thanks, man. You're killing it.
Nah.
You're back.
I'm back.
Dude, you're back.
Let's have a therapy session.
Let's just have a little cheers first. Cheers to being back and just doing cool.
Cheers to you. It's all your fault.
Okay, we need to really rewind here very quickly because I keep getting blasted with on Twitter. People are like, you brought CM Punk back to wrestling. How am I responsible for this? And
I just think it's funny.
I'll take it.
I just think it's funny to blame you. You know,
I don't mind
Then
it.
I have a scapegoat. I can blame you when it blows up and goes wrong. I can just
What if it's the then my
Renee!
Twitter, my Twitter's really gonna go the other way because I was getting all these like grateful tweets of like, you did it. I'm like, you're right, I did. I single-handedly fixed wrestling.
Well, I think the first wrestling thing I did since I left was Fox, right?
Yeah.
So it's all your fault. I can't blame it on anybody else. I won't blame it on the people that paid me.
No,
I'll blame it on you.
How could you? No, I didn't pay you.
I think
I just tried to coerce you as much as I could.
I think doing the Fox show with you, honestly, that I hadn't spoken to you since I left, probably, right?
Yeah.
So rekindled a friendship, and I think was kind of like the gateway to opening up the possibility in my head that, wrestling could have been an option.
Right.
I mean, I don't know where in the timeline AEW kind of started or launched during like the whole Fox thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely before that because John was already doing his stuff with AEW. I'm not really sure the time frame on that either. My brain doesn't work like that.
Because
anymore.
there was a show before, I'll screw it all up. Like the Young Bucks, Omega, Cody, they did a show in Chicago before AEW was, I guess, technically officially a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know where in that I was doing the Fox thing, but the Fox thing was too good to be true. It was great.
It was, in fact, too good to be true.
Because people legitimately are like, oh, he went back to the WWE. No. I went to Fox.
We got that Fox money.
And like, that's what it was like so insane to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, really?
It was fun though. It was a fun little gig that we had.
It really was. And it's amazing the way people in the real world treat other human beings.
Isn't it so eye-opening?
Because Fox flew to Milwaukee. I was in Milwaukee. They're like, we'll come to Chicago, we'll come to Milwaukee. And Jacob Spoon and Ben flew to Milwaukee, and I had it was like kind of a formal but informal, meeting. We ordered food, and I was very adamant of, guys, I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to work for them. So I don't know if this is like a Trojan horse.
Right.
Because
you must feel like they're like, okay, we'll get him to come do this. And then that's the gateway to actually getting you back to signing with WWE.
But I didn't want that. And I want transparency and honesty. And they were like, we have SmackDown coming to Fox. We want an analyst show as like a lead in or, like whatever, just like we have a football panel. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. It's a good idea. And they're like, you're the guy, you're the white whale. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm the white whale that probably has nothing good to say.
How
and
hard was it like doing that though?
They were like, we need honesty. We're paying them a lot of money, and man, we hope the show's good. And I was like, great. And I thought I was fair on the show. When stuff was bad, I was like, there was some stuff I liked, but it was I think that was the whole start of, possibly the idea. Just an idea, you know what I mean? Yeah. And working with good people, Jacob, like everybody at Fox is like so great.
They are
like
really lovely.
Beyond great.
They're really great. Yeah. It was such a great experience working there. And like you said, it was cool for you and I to be able to rekindle a friendship. And here we are. And now CM Punk is going to wrestle this Sunday.
Oh my God.
Okay, so before we even get into that, so I know you've been doing a bunch of media, but I still will ask you the questions that need to be asked. Why AEW? What made that make the most sense to you? And like, I have a million other questions about it after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. I was able to kind of just sit back and watch things unfold, and there's really you couldn't compare the two. You can compare the two, but knowing who they are,
yeah,
why would I go back?
And what you must have had conversations before signing to AEW. You must have kind of had conversations on both sides of the coin, right? So that being said, so what were your conversations with Tony like?
My conversations with Tony were very relaxed, and
were they? Because he's a hyper guy.
Yeah, but they weren't so business oriented, right?
Yeah,
like, you know, I think famously everybody thinks they know the story of, like, you know, Tony having a third party like reach out to me and be like, here, and I was just like, you know, the timing's not right, and guys, like, I need, you know, stuff done like a certain way. Like, you know, I'm not saying I'm prettiest girl at the prom or anything like that, but, you know, like, let's sit down and talk. And you know, that like never happened until Tony was just like, yeah, you know, like, I want to sit down and talk. And I talked with him, and, you know, based on things he said, I took a wait and see approach. Like, he said certain things that made me go, oh, okay, I'll sit back and see if this happens.
Like what?
Just the TNT deal.
Yeah.
You know, and this is not a slight on Tony at all. This is a slight on every other person every 6 months of my entire wrestling career who came around and was like, we got money, we got a backer, we got a money mark, brother, and we got TV, and we're going to use all the old ECW guys. We're bringing it back. I mean, my entire career prior to WWE literally was that every 6 months. Yeah. There's a guy named John Collins who famously did time for bouncing checks to not just me, but a whole bunch of guys. Yeah. So, you know, really, it's just like, oh, I've heard it before. Yeah. You know, and I'm not one to rush into stuff now. I'm older and I'm wiser, and so really, I just kind of like took the backseat approach. And, you know, to me, timing's everything. And eventually, it got to the point where it was just like, man, okay, this feels right. And then the pandemic hit, and then I was just like, well, now we just have more time to sit back and wait.
Well, you knew that this was going to happen that long ago.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Wow.
But, and then again, I thought coming back with no fans would have sucked. I mean, selfishly, like, I hats off to every single person who worked in front of nobody. To me, that's the whole juice of the art of professional wrestling, is getting those people like invested. And without that there, ooh, man, that had to be so hard.
Could you imagine not having been able to have the moment that you got to have in Chicago? I mean, that is like, I wouldn't have let that happen. It couldn't have happened.
Yeah. I wouldn't have let that happen. And then, you know, it's just, there's a series of happy accidents that was just like, oh, I'm glad we waited. I'm glad it happened this way. And timing is just everything. It was the perfect storm. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
How nervous were you going out there, waiting for that music to hit? And here we go. It's been...
I mean, have you seen some of the backstage footage and stuff like that? Yeah. I don't know if it comes through, because I definitely think there's a degree of me that's just like, you know, play it cool. You know what I mean? But like, I had a couple friends with me. I had a friend, Nora.
You know another person named Nora?
Nora Flanagan. I've known Nora since I was 14 years old.
Respect to Nora.
She's the #1 public school teacher in Chicago.
Oh, good.
She's a badass. And it's like one of those people, she's like, I've never seen you do any of your wrestling stuff. She's like, can I come with? I was like, yeah.
She's never seen you do it?
No.
How's that possible?
And you know what's funny about that is I met Nora because I was friends with her brother. I would wrestle in the backyard with her brother. Oh. Right? Yeah. So she's like, can I come with? I was like, absolutely. And I'm so glad she did, because she was the den mother. You know, she's got 2 kids. So she saw me. She was like, come on, let's go walk around. Let's go walk around. You know what? You need a banana. Let's go get a banana. You know what I mean? And I would just, okay, great.
Thank you. Because
I'd be sitting in my room and I would just be like bouncing, and she could tell. So I'm glad I had my support system there and everybody helped me out. But I was just pacing and I couldn't sit still. I'd go to catering, I'd eat a banana, I'd get up, I'd walk around, I'd be like, oh, I want to watch this match. Dante Martin, I got to watch this kid. And then I found myself like 8 seconds staring at the screen. And then I'd be like,
not paying attention.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd just like zone out and be like, a fly, I was just, I wasn't focused at all because I literally didn't know what I was going to say because I knew I had to go out there and hear and feel the crowd before I could formulate any kind of a thought. Because I knew if I planned to say something and I went out there, everything would go sideways.
It's more pressure on you really that way to like try to map out what you want to do.
Well, I like I said a couple seconds ago,
you're a terrible public speaker, which you are not.
I think that's the juice of the art is going out there and like, okay, this is how the people are reacting. This is who's there and working towards that. Eddie Guerrero taught me a long time ago, he was like, before the show starts, when they dim the lights, go out there and listen. You go out there. You have to be on the other side of the curtain and you listen. And when they dim the lights, the crowd will pop.
Yeah.
And based on that pop, you'll be able to hear, oh, it's 80% kids.
It's making me like nervous thinking about that already. Like,
oh, I hear it's predominantly guys.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you hear a lot of ladies' voices. The screams are higher pitched, and then you can formulate what you're going to do based on that. If it was kids, I could get away with doing more goofy. Sure. If it's guys, we're gonna have a banger. You know what I mean? It's gonna be more sports oriented, and that was just one of the things that I was taught. And
so what did you hear?
I didn't hear because the instant my music hit, I heard the first riff and then
because you opened the show, duh.
And then I heard a jet engine and it was on top of me. And people have asked me what it feels like. And the only thing I can tell them is there's, an elevated train here in Chicago, the L. Go stand underneath it as a double train goes by.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It was loud, but I've heard loud pops before.
Sure.
This one, it's like you felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just hear it. I felt it. It was on top of me. And then I went out there and sometimes everything becomes a blur, but this time you see it. I calmly, I just get down on my knees and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
And I soak it in, I enjoy it. And you see me cry and it's a total release. And
I feel like I'm like being a Mark right now, like living this out through you again right now.
And it's literally, I've been doing a ton of press and I said it to somebody, I can't remember who. It was just it's just a moment in time where I was like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now, mm-hmm. exactly where I need to be. And everything is right. Let's go knock it out of the park. I think I did.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I think I did.
It's so crazy to think I'm excited for those fans who for the past, 6-7 years that have been doing the CM Punk chants during every show that comes through Chicago now got to finally get that big payoff. Finally it's happening. You're back and to get to do it in Chicago.
And ice cream bars.
And the ice cream bars. I heard that you footed the bill for that. Is that true?
Yeah.
How much did that cost?
You don't want to know.
I kind of do. I want to know how much ice cream bars
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I kind of do.
No,
can you give me
I didn't bat an eyelash. I was like, yeah, here we go.
How much was it?
I'm not telling you.
Come on, will you tell me when the mic's on?
15,000 ice cream bars.
Okay. Do the math.
15,000 ice cream. Yeah.
People were very happy about those.
They needed to be. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect because it was right up my alley. It's very Andy Kaufman. It's milk and cookies after a show.
Yeah.
I've done it before, but on a much smaller scale. Like when I do conventions or Q&As publicly, I'll bring pizza. I'll bring donuts.
Yeah.
But I never brought 15,000 donuts.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't. Yeah, you couldn't really pull that off. By the way, I got pizza here.
I see that. Oh, who comes to Chicago and orders Jets pizza? Who comes to Chicago and was like, I'm gonna get a Detroit chain pizza?
Hold on, wait. It's a Detroit pizza?
You don't know anything.
I don't know anything. I literally typed in on my Postmates. Yep. Is that Detroit? That's not deep dish?
Detroit. So Detroit style pizza is square like this. Okay. You're just going to eat that right in front of me, aren't you?
Yeah, you don't want a slice? Why? You got somewhere to be that you can't
I got to be in my underwear in public in a couple days.
Okay. First things first, though, it's delicious. There's no such thing as bad pizza in my mind.
Right. Hey.
But, excuse me, sir.
Up.
Come here. He's like, give me that ham. I want ham.
I told you, he's a sheep herder. You moved.
Not my dog.
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
But when you and I did the first you're like my third episode of Oral Sessions, and we said we were going to do it in person with pizza. So here we are.
Am I the first repeat? I'm probably not, right? Am I the first, like...
Unfortunately, you're not. Sami Zayn was my first. Sami Zayn was the first repeat. But that's because... And that was not supposed to be on purpose? Oh, wow. No, I'll keep picking on it.
Larry, hey.
What greasy pizza that is.
Well, it's pizza.
It's pizza.
No such thing. There's
You're
no
right.
such bad thing as pizza. I'm probably gonna have a pizza Monday, like after.
Oh, don't eat that.
After my match, he'll grab anything.
He was
not
like, "Give me
tied
that.
down.
It's paper towel. You can't have that." You're not my first repeat, but I've not been able to do a lot of these in person. So
yeah,
here we are.
So this is cool.
This is
the way
this
is the way it should be done.
Yes,
with
100%.
Larry here.
Yeah, Larry, the baby, was here. She's gone for a stroll with John. I inhaled a crumb. Okay, you said when you walked out and you felt like I am exactly where I need to be. And I do my research before I do interviews. I gave a couple Google searches. I listened to a few different things. But you said that there was 3 moments in your life that you knew that you were in the right place at the right time. What are those other moments?
Oh, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I just never.
Oh, they weren't like specific.
Yeah,
things?
I don't know if I'd be able to nail down anything specific, but that was one of them.
That was that was definitely one of them.
That's one of them. I'm sure another one has something to do with April.
It's got to. I mean, being married, something like that, something with her. Yeah. Getting married. I think that was probably one of them. That'll do
I don't know, but I don't know.
I don't know
if that beats. I don't know if that beats Friday.
Sorry, April. I mean, it was a big moment.
She's not gonna listen to this.
Could you imagine? That's like, I don't listen to John's interviews. No offense. I love him very much, but I just simply can't. So Sunday, you are wrestling. You've been able to go out there. You got to do a promo. You got to get back into the world of wrestling, but now you got to wrestle. It's clobbering time, brother.
Yep.
How do you feel?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Same nerves as I felt Friday before going out there because it's a different thing. It's the same, but it's different.
Yeah.
Now I got to perform, and there's 7 years of expectation, and I feel like there's an entire generation of people out there that have maybe not seen what was so neat about me, and they're like, this guy,
what do you got?
This guy
Who
sucks.
Are you?
I've heard it all. Unfortunately, I feel like the negative voices are always the louder ones. Of
course.
And it's great to be praised. It's great to, people say nice things about you. And I'm always just like, no. And then, I'm only human. I'm just like everybody else. You hear the bad stuff and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh,
and
it's the worst.
You get mad about it. You're like, oh, he's not an athlete. And I'm like, all right. Like, okay, but, and different things like
coming from a guy that for sure is not an athlete that's typing this to you, or a girl, who knows?
No, what's the other one? He's nothing special. He only did one good promo, and my thing with that is, who else is known? Right? Who else is known for promo? Oh, Dusty Rhodes? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, put me in that same category.
So some people are being great. Some people are talking. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's always going to happen. It's the life that chose me.
The other night you got to hit your GTS for the first time.
I did.
How'd it feel?
It felt good. A lot of it's like riding a bike. And it's the anticipation and the anxiety leading up to actually doing something. That's when I'm nervous. But literally once I'm out there, it's just like it's whatever. I feel like I have a connection with this audience, and why waste that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's like, just give me a microphone. We'll go out there and we'll just have fun. I think the people out there have a ton of fun. and you can almost coast on that for a while, and we literally kind of get away with doing nothing, and it's just enjoyable.
How do you feel actually having a match though and working with Darby so far? I mean, you've only been able to have, however many interactions with Darby up till now, but why was he the perfect person for you to come back and get into a program with? I
literally meant what I said when when I was 15, it was all like jock culture was like a huge thing. I skateboarded. I was looking to try to find like an identity, and I was, opinionated punk rock kid, and all the jocks made fun of me and stuff like that. And it's just, there's a big thing about Darby that reminds me of me back then. And if I was a kid and I saw him, he would be my favorite wrestler just because he's different. You know what I mean? It's not about,
he's going to bump around like crazy.
It's not about being like, big muscle bound Hulk Hogan, kid. Obviously he looks different. He's got tattoos. It's punk rock. So there's something there.
Okay. Working with Sting. What about having Sting in AEW? What do you think about like how he's been used in AEW? How you're going to be working with him going forward?
Yeah, I mean that's a thing. That's a situation that I never, ever thought was a possibility. Right? I mean, you're talking about a guy who has been on top everywhere he's ever gone, and I really kind of don't know if he gets the credit for his wrestling mind. And it's kind of hard for him to not have a different perspective based on everybody he's worked with and everywhere he's been. And I think people always look at Sting because, I don't know if he was ever positioned as the top guy, but I feel like he was the heart and soul of WCW, especially towards the end. Yeah. I mean, dude was on the first Nitro. Dude was on the last Nitro. I mean, he's been in main events with Ric Flair. He's worked everybody, and so because he was never positioned as like, that guy, but he was always like, I mean, if there's anybody that was ever a number 2 throughout his entire career, and that might sound like a negative to a lot of people, but I mean, he's been around for so long, and I just don't think he gets the credit for that. You know what I mean? I don't think he gets the credit for being a top guy because, maybe he always played quote unquote second fiddle to Flair or Hogan or whatever. But man, and then they always had to rely on him. Yeah. Sting was always there, And
I like the way that he's being used in AEW. It's like it's really putting a great spotlight on him, putting him in a position to succeed. And what a great way for him to be able to like.
I look at it like this, and I haven't seen anybody make this comparison. It's like when Harley managed Vader in WCW, where there might have been a generation of people who watched and they're like, Vader's a badass, and he's got that guy as his manager, but like Harley was a badass, and he moved into the position where he was managing. I feel like that's babyface Sting right now as like the manager. He occasionally works. And it's a delight to see, as a guy who, narrowly avoided being paralyzed, and, now he's still doing it. And I think it's great. He doesn't got to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Thank God.
He's used sparingly, and to me it's a delight because you get these really weird situations where it's me and it's Sting and it's Darby in a ring, and that's I'm putting an age on myself, but that's 3 generations right there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's wild. And I was pinching myself being in the ring with Sting. You know what I mean? Because everything he said, he was just, afterwards he was like, hey, I meant everything I said. And I was just like, super cool. I had to act like tough guy out there, but I was, inside I was just like,
freaking out about it. Okay, so who else do you really want to work with? I know when we talked before, obviously you mentioned Kenny Omega, as most people tend to do. When you're looking at the roster at AEW and as it continues to grow and there's always more people being added into the mix, who do you kind of have a target on?
It's a lame answer, but it's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, But I think the way AEW is structured is, CM Punk couldn't come in and immediately start wrestling Kenny Omega.
Right.
Right? They have wins and loss records. And
what do you think about that, the wins and loss records?
I'm on the fence about it. Like, I get it, but
seems hard to maintain.
Yeah. it's hard to maintain simply because they have the YouTube shows, I think.
Right.
Which I think the majority of the people's records, their matches and stuff. Are you okay?
Yep. Everything's fine.
Like they're having matches on the YouTube show. And it kind of reminds me of like Goldberg and WCW, where one Nitro, he'd be like, 10 and 0.
Right.
And then like the next Nitro, he'd be like 25 and 0. And I'd be like, wait a second,
Hold
this
on,
guy
what
wrestled
happened
twice
here?
a day for
What'd
a
I
week.
miss?
Like, what is going on? But yeah, I want to wrestle John.
Okay.
I've never wrestled John Moxley.
You have not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wrestled Dean Ambrose and I my pants.
Remember that?
How could I forget?
Remember that? I'll always remember that. What a good time.
How could I
I'm
forget?
crying about it. I remember it so well. I'm okay. I swear I'm okay.
I want to wrestle the Young Bucks. I got to find the right tag partner for that.
Who would you want to tag with?
I mean, if we're fantasy booking,
fantasy booking here.
When's this come out?
It's going to come out tomorrow? Saturday.
Saturday? Oh, okay.
Oh. I mean, are we just giving away spoilers here?
I don't think it's necessarily giving away spoilers. It's just it's me putting my Booker hat on.
Okay.
Of all the possibilities, I would do CM Punk and the American Dragon versus the Young Bucks. Like, how do you
Imagine
not?
you guys wrap your freaking heads around
it's
this.
so obvious. Like, that's what you do. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I wanna do really crazy like trios matches. Me, Darby, and Sting against like the Lucha Bros and like Fuego del Sol. You know what I mean? Like make it real, like weird booking generator of like WCW Saturday Night when like Scott Armstrong would tag with like Silver King, and you just be like,
what the?
You'd be like, yeah, all right, let's go. Literally everybody. Miro's like a different dude.
Completely different dude. Yeah.
He beat me up in my last match in the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah, like that's when he debuted. And
Holy really?
Yeah.
God.
That was his debut.
Wow. Completely.
Because I remember grabbing him and being like, "All right, look, man, you're debuting. What do you want to do?" And he was like, "I don't know. I'll get you in the corner and I'll beat you up." And I was like, "No. Man." I was like, I'm the biggest name in that ring. I go, you gotta hit me with some big stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah." I go, nobody's gonna just let you have to have your moment, please. Like, get your moment.
Get your in.
And and he started and I left, and now we're both gone and we're somewhere new. And it's like, so he's like a different guy.
Completely.
There you go.
You have been writing things on your sneakers. I have seen. We've seen a BW.
They came like
AC,
that.
Did they?
Yeah.
A CF?
They came like that.
Oh. What company makes them like that? That's interesting.
Vans.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Those aren't your dad's shoes? These are different ones?
Those are actually shoes that I bought for backstage.
Because he came into backstage. What were the shoes that you were wearing? Me and
I don't
Paige
know.
were making
I was
fun
wearing
of you.
running
we're like,
shoes.
You can't wear those. Those gotta go. They're actually similar to what are the shoes that I make fun of John for wearing?
The Monarchs.
The Monarchs. These are like quintessential dad shoes. They have holes in them that he wears, and he just thinks that they're fine. They're terrible. Yours were a step up from that, I will give you. But anyways, the Vans shoes Vans now has shoes that come with initials on them. That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, we'll sidestep that. And I'm just going to circle back to the other day. Did you get in a little bit of trouble with either AEW or TNT for your remarks regarding the yes chants?
No.
No.
Nobody said anything to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, great. All right.
Nobody said anything to me.
What was the direction that you were given when you went out to debut? Because I know obviously you just went out and you could feel it. What all were you told to do with that time to fill? Phil?
I mean, close to nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was the one who was like, "Hey, just so you know, like, here's what I'm going to say." And Tony was like, "I trust you." And I was like, "Okay, well, so you know, like, I'm not going to swear. You know, you don't got to worry about anything like that, you know." And yeah, I think that's the youthful, like, exuberance of AEW is Tony trusts people to go out there, and, you know, and going forward, we'll all learn from our mistakes. If somebody gets the microphone and goes out there and Tony has trust in them and they blow it, well, that person probably won't have that freedom anymore,
Yeah.
or at least it'll get limited. But right now, I think that's the magic of it is, hey, Phil, you and Sting, what do you think of you and Sting being in the ring? How would you guys do that? And me sitting down with Sting and being like, Sting? And Sting looking at me going, you're the promo guy. And I'm going, you're Sting.
Yeah.
But there's a synergy and there's discussion, and it's not writers in a room that don't even watch wrestling writing stuff for characters that they don't understand. So you don't have individual voices, and me and Sting have an individual voice, and like I can't tell Sting what he's gonna say.
Sure.
Sting can't tell me what he's gonna say. I don't know what Darby's gonna say. You get 3 different generations who talk 3 different ways, and Tony trusts us to come up with the best possible stuff. And just talking about that segment that we did, I don't think it could have gone any better.
No,
could not have gone better.
Just to be able to have stuff feel natural and be super organic. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are craving in the world of wrestling, is to be able to see people just go out and do the thing they do and having that trust from, whether it be Tony or from the networks or whatever. One thing that I thought was really cool after your debut was when AEW released the footage from the truck. Did you see that?
Was
oh my
so
God.
cool.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was super cool. And like the funny thing about
Hats
that
off
is
to those people, that crew.
You ask those guys, hey, did you guys have fun? Like they're having fun in the truck. I know it sounds stressful when Tim's barking out camera numbers and all that stuff, but
I don't know how
that's
people do that. I would have a seizure.
Yeah, that's high paced. I mean, that he's done a WrestleMania with like 40 something cameras.
I couldn't. Like I would literally explode.
Yeah, I'd have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, they were like cheering and they were having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about loving your job and having fun doing it. I think it resonates, and the crowd sees that, and they want to have that same fun.
Yeah. How has it been adjusting to a new locker room? I mean, you rattle off all these names of people that you want to work with and whatnot, but it's still like inserting yourself into this world again. How's that been?
So it's a new locker room, but it's not. There's so many familiar faces. I've known Cody forever.
Yeah.
Sandra's making tights.
Right?
Jan's doing makeup. You know what I mean? So like, there's familiar faces and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, in the truck, like, I mean, people who have directed WrestleManias, like I know a lot of the people behind the scenes. A lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new ones too. Some of them make me feel old, but man, do some of them make me feel super cool.
Yeah.
There's more than one conversation I've had that people were like, hey, I just have to say that you helped me through a bad spot.
People that are in the locker room have said this.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
People have tattoos.
Really?
Based on me.
What?
Yeah, like
Ew.
I'm not saying.
Where is this tattoo?
It's a lot. Some of it's heavy, but it's all positive,
Wow.
and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It really is. And I mean, so do you know Shane Hagedorn? Shane Hagedorn is a kid I trained at Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Ring of Honor. He works backstage.
Wow.
So it's just
that's cool.
It's wild,
full
man.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is nuts.
it really is crazy. And seeing all like, I mean, Serena. I saw Serena yesterday, and like
with her hair.
Yeah. And like I gave Serena a big hug, and she's just like, "Hey, I'm sorry." And I was like, "I'm sorry if I was ever too serious and I was a jerk." So there's like a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of therapy going on. There's a lot of people that used to work where I used to work, and we all come together, and there's like it's just like
what does that feel like to like it's just such a different time for you to have left the time that you had in WWE, which has obviously been very well documented, to where you're at now, and having that time. Like, who are you as a person walking into this?
I think I'm a person that is grateful that I can get back to falling in love and enjoying professional wrestling, but also knowing that I don't have to be consumed by it and so obsessed to a point of self-destruction.
Right.
I can be like, oh, like whatever happens, Tony already asked me if I, hey, do you have any vacations planned? So you need time off, like whatever. And I was like, bro, I just got here.
You haven't even had to get on a plane yet.
I haven't even taken a bump. Correct.
Yeah, or taken a bump. Things are going really well for you right now.
Yes, I'm enjoying it.
No bumps, no planes.
But, there was just, I think old Phil was just like obsessed. Like I was obsessed with wrestling and old school wrestling, and got to be tough, got to finish the match, and got to work hurt, got to work sick, and that's just not conducive to a healthy you.
Yeah.
Like mentally, physically, like everything. Like when April came into my life, I was like, if I don't stop, I'm gonna mess this up. If I don't stop, I'm gonna die. And it sounds dramatic, man, but like there's people that I wish were still here that I know were gonna quit 6 months before they were found dead in a hotel. And that's real life. Yeah. And I like me. I don't want that to be me.
Sure.
I would much rather be hated for having left than be loved for, being dead and being like, oh, he's great. Like it's a better all around situation. I think it's a better all around Phil. Because for sure, like there's probably people who had bad experiences with me because I was like, wrestling, no, this is the way it's got to be. And like, we're old school and we got to be tough. And like, and now I'm just like, no, man, because what's more important than wrestling to me is that guy, Larry, my wife, maybe not in that order, but
John does that too. John always does. He goes, I want to go home so I can be with my dogs and my wife. Yeah. Actually, now it goes with my baby, my dogs, my wife. I've taken the third.
You're like number
seat.
4.
Me and Benny can share 3. Well,
so yeah, it's everything happens for a reason, even the bad stuff. And I've been through some bad stuff, and now I'm on the other side of it. And Dreamer said it to me. He was doing Busted Open, and Dreamer's like, I want to give you your flowers while you're here, and I was like, I will accept said flowers. Yeah. I will. I'm trying to learn how to take a compliment.
Not an easy thing to do, but it's good. That's a good place to be in, to just like accept it, come into it with like your guard down, and just to be able to enjoy things. I mean, even like you said, coming out for your debut is being able to slow down and take in all of those moments. And I think that can apply to kind of everything from in the ring to backstage to
all what's great about that though too is that Tony recognized what a moment that is. So here we go. I think Tony recognized.
Emilio's dying.
Dude, Larry's just getting fat on ham.
Larry's leaving here 10 pounds heavier.
I think Tony recognized what a moment that was going to be. Mm-hmm. And so there was no hit your times, make sure you do this, do that. It was literally just go.
Yeah.
It was very Bruce Lee. It was go be water.
Yeah.
Flow, crash, do whatever you're going to do, and we'll shoot it, and it'll be magic.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the rest of it just kind of gets figured out. I mean, from like you getting to do your thing, you had 2 segments, and we're like, we'll fill the rest of the show after that. Because I remember talking to John, he's like, we're closing the show out, and we'll see whatever Punk goes out to do, and then we'll kind of follow and close out depending on what the time's going to be. So just an interesting way to do TV. I mean, coming after like WWE, where it's like everything is down to the second,
right,
to just letting you go out and do your thing. It's very, very cool. The deal with TNT. So now you're working with TNT. Mm-hmm. Does this open up other opportunities for you, perhaps?
It might.
Do you think? Are these conversations that have been being had, or are we just kind of like putting stuff out into the world at this point? I've been tweeting a ton. I don't think you're as aggressive with your tweeting as I am in terms of saying, hey, oh my God, the NHL is working with TNT. How do we get in on that?
I don't think it's something that I'm not supposed to talk about. I had a pretty good meeting with them, and it was independent of anything AEW. So I really felt like, oh man, once they find out I'm there, I think this might help my chances.
Doors busted wide open.
But I know they've been taking things really, really slow because they're not built for hockey. They don't have the infrastructure for hockey. They very much have basketball. And I remember, I mean, you know how many people were probably jumping down their throats as soon as I got the rights?
Oh my, I was.
NHL.
I literally was. I was like, I'll come do it. And they're like, no, bitch.
I know they were like, we're going to wait until after the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we have to focus on that. And they're built for the NBA playoffs.
Sure.
You know, they have everything there. So, you know, NBC Sports, I mean, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So like there's all those people and they basically, they started with like who their broadcasters for games were going to be. So they hired Eddie Olczyk. They hired Kenny Albert. Yeah. They hired Gretzky. And like there's some shoe-in people out there that I was like, they got to hire these people.
Right?
You're one of them. Jackie Redmond's was one of them.
The fact that Jackie Redmond should 100% be in there.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
Like that is such an easy layup.
I even said it to April. I was like, how do you not just sign like the attractive women who know hockey? Because
it's a no-brainer. It's
because
right
there's
there.
dudes out there who are like watching the hockey game, and then you know,
throw 'em a bone.
It's like you either cut to Mike Milbury.
Yeah.
you know, you're like, all right, yeah, Milbury. I always respect to Milbury because he beat a man with a shoe in the stands. But I would rather look at Jackie Redmond.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw Jackie out there. I mean, Carlin Bath, she's great too.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
See, now we're talking.
But I mean, we don't need to get into the nitty gritty. I'm not booking TNT. I wish that I could because I feel like there's plenty of names to throw out there. But I do love the idea of you getting in there. You're back to wrestling. Now we can get you maybe in there doing the NHL. I feel like things are coming up, Phil, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I need any more jobs currently.
No.
But I will gleefully accept more jobs. That's the problem, right? Like you gotta.
Are you bad at? Well, no, I guess that's not very true. I was gonna say, are you bad at saying no to things? But I feel like that's not. I think you're probably pretty good.
No,
at
I'm
saying
very
no
good
to
at
things.
saying no to things.
You're very. Yeah, I wish I was.
Yeah, no is a complete sentence. is a saying in our household.
I wish that I was more like that. John and I was talking about that because he's like, you take on too much and you're too like nice and accommodating. He'll send me like screenshots of like text conversations where he just like simply doesn't respond or just says no. And I wish that I had more of that.
Yeah, you never and that goes for everybody out there. You never have to explain yourself. You can always just be like, nope,
it's not for me. Thank you so much.
You don't even have to say that. You just go nope.
No, period. So what else is going to happen this weekend? What matches are you looking forward to watching, to just be there as a fan and participate?
I think the pay-per-view is honestly absolutely stacked. You know, there's John Moxley versus Kojima,
John Moxley, the diaper changer. He just stole a diaper beside me.
I think Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks, I'm sure, is going to be absolutely bonkers. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's going to entertain, make people mad. They're doing too much. But, did you see that cage? Did you see that cage?
I did see that, yeah.
The cage is like a skyscraper.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
I walked up to the Lucha Bros and I said, amigos, let's be safe.
Yeah, be careful out there.
And they said, we'll try. And I said, no.
You gotta be.
Let's do. There is no try.
What are some conversations you've had with our friend Christian, the backstage Buddha?
I keep calling him that back there. He doesn't sell it. He doesn't sell it at all.
But for both of you guys to be away from the ring 7 years, is it 7 years for both of you?
Yeah.
7 years, yeah.
I've never paid much attention to Christian's career, so I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Rude. Rude is all hell. Sorry, Jay.
I love Jay. I remember getting to work him in ECW, and it was kind of like under the radar because I didn't really care about that show. So me and Jay were like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. Give us 3 segments. Come on.
Yeah.
I think he's another guy that it's so great because he, I left, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't have this disclosed injury, even though I was up.
Yeah.
But he obviously had like this disclosed public thing, and it was like, oh, he can't wrestle anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, but wait, there's more. And now he can. And, it's the same with Edge.
Yeah.
It's like, how rad is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
nuts.
I love people getting, second or third acts. I think it's fantastic.
I hope that our girl Paige gets one of those. Speaking of people with injuries, and she's been sort of alluding to getting stronger, and maybe her days are not done in the ring. I don't know this for any kind of fact, but I like that she's been kind of teasing it out there, and I think it just gives people a little bit of hope seeing people bounce back from injuries. I mean, Daniel Bryan being another one of those guys that's been able to pull that off.
Yes.
But have you talked to Christian just about sort of having that time away from the ring to getting now back in ring shape? Because he looks great. You're very lean. You're ready. You won't even eat pizza.
I don't think I look as good as Jay. I think he's
looks good.
Yeah, he looks
he's
real
shredded.
Good. He looks real good. But he's always been a body guy. I've never been a body guy.
Is Jay a body guy?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I don't know. I've never paid enough attention to Christian's
career. Oh my God, you're such a what a I had a follow up to something about the backstage stuff with Jay being there, you being there, Paige.
I haven't talked to him specifically about like, oh, hey, what's it like coming back or anything like that. I have had a conversation with him about like, hey, there's a lot of young kids out here, and he was very sincere. Like we did a send him home happy thing, and he was legit. He was just like, it's a big deal you're here.
Yeah.
And I, no. But we talked backstage, and he's like, it's a big deal you're here. Yeah. And he's like, I think there's kids here that are super excited about me and you being here, and I think we can lead by example. And I was like, I'm with you, dude.
How much of that do you guys really want to like take on? I mean, looking at you being there, with Christian being there, other names that have potentially been rumored to be joining AEW, to structuring the shows and kind of, not necessarily writing the shows, but kind of working on that stuff with Tony. I mean, I don't know how public stuff is of how the shows are put together, but it seems like everyone just kind of does their own segments, right?
I think, so based on my experience thus far, I think Tony controls it all.
Yeah.
I don't think guys are doing whatever they want, but everybody certainly has some sort of an input, and everybody certainly has a direct line to Tony.
Sure.
And he's the guy who says yes or no, right? I don't take responsibility. I'm not going to write a show. I'm not going to mess with anybody else's segment, especially if people don't ask.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit back and I think a guy like me, Christian, maybe a guy like Daniel Bryan, if
perhaps that were a thing that were to happen, who knows? Who can say?
I think lead by example is the key there. I think it's not, hey guys, this is the way to do it. It's, hey guys, there's no one way to do it. But in my experience, I think maybe this could be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But what do you think? It's how I handled it with Sting.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a respect, and I'm not going to tell Sting, hey, this is what I think. But we literally sat there back and forth going, what do you think? No, what do you think? No, you tell me. No, you tell me. Okay, well, what about this? No, you know what? Oh, yeah, hey, that's a really good idea. But we did it this way. Oh, wow. And it grows from there. Like I said,
which is like great within your own segment, but that's also like you and Sting, two dudes who have kind of been able to do it all. But then you have some of these newer guys that are less familiar with doing TV, less familiar with, I guess, just kind of even just following along with the show, making sure there's not a lot of the same finishes or a lot of the same, whatnot happening in the show.
Well, I think eventually, we work with those guys.
Yeah.
And, for better or for worse, they will feel and see the difference in experience, and I think if they want to learn and they want to not get better, I'm not here to make anybody better or anything like that, but just gain new experience and new perspective and maybe open their eyes a little bit to something different or something they didn't think of previously. I think that's kind of the idea, right? And that's the way the business has always been built. You see a lot of older guys tag with younger guys and teach them how to work. And then, that's how Arn started. You know, Arn was in Anderson, and he's in there with Gene and Ole, you know what I mean? And he's learning from them, and, and now he's a coach backstage. And it's just like, that's kind of the cycle of the business that I feel has been lost in other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. When you were at home during this whole time during the pandemic and you kind of knew that you were probably going to end up at AEW, was there things when you're watching the show that you think need to be worked on, or things that you would change about the way that the shows were kind of coming together?
Of course. But it's not, when we were at Fox, I would watch stuff and I would be like, well,
This dumbass.
You know, like why? Like who proved wrestling with the red light on? Like what is this?
Remember when that was a thing?
I mean, there's bad ideas, and then there's
asinine
there's
ideas.
that. You're just like, all right. You know, my perspective is I came up in a place that was a Shark Tank full of bullies that were protecting their spot. And it wasn't about what was good or bad or right or wrong. It was what I did was always bad and it was always wrong. And there were people who ran the show who told me to my face, I don't get it. And I would just be like, what the?
I like when the voice just tells it all.
Well, what the are we doing? You know, like, because if I'm in developmental and to liken it to playing AAA ball, I want to make it to the major leagues. And if I'm hitting home runs, I'm the home run king in AAA ball, and I get called up and I get called up to the major leagues, and the guy on the team with the most home runs tells the hitting coach and the bench coach and the manager, that guy sucks. You know, it's just like, well, we don't want to just win games. We don't want to just, you know, like, you know, so I came up with.
It's really disheartening seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
I heartbreaker.
I came up around a lot of that, but I also think that's what made me a cycle breaker. And when new people would show up, I'd be sitting, I'd grab a plate of food and I'd sit next to them in catering, and they would just be like, oh, I mean, I wasn't anybody yet. And for Kofi's first day on the road, I was like, hey man, you're riding with me. And he was just like, okay, great.
Yeah.
You know, because I got there and I was picked. I was already a grown ass man, and I had these other grown ass men like picking on me, and I was like, "Why is this like high school?
Yeah.
Like what? Like I get it, but
who hurt you? Why is it like this?"
But that's the culture. That's what they want. We want you guys to fight, and we want you to want his spot. And I never wanted anybody's spot. I wanted my own spot.
I would always find that really they would always bum me out when I would be sitting in production meetings and seeing like someone's name get brought up, and it's if a certain person gives it an eye roll, you know that person's getting buried and they're not going to be doing their much longer.
How many times?
So sad.
Okay, so when I got over, quote unquote, so to speak, there very much was a contingent that was like, he's one of us now. Watch us bury everybody, and I would be going, nah, man. That sucks.
That's not cool.
That's not cool. And they would all be like,
yeah.
Oh. But that's a thing that I look at and I go, all right, I don't get it. But I listen to the people.
Yeah.
And they react to them and they like them. So I'm just like,
there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we throw that? Why would we throw that in the garbage?
Yeah.
It's not for me to get. It's for the audience to get.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that culture for way too long has generated this opinion that is just parroted by fans, and it's just like, man, draw your own conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like stuff because somebody else likes it. I like what I like, and if somebody else doesn't like it, that doesn't influence my opinion on that either way.
Yeah, a lot of people's brains, I think, just sometimes maybe don't work like that, and they want.
Well, if it's popular, then it's popular, and then it's cool to them, whether they like it or not.
The women's division in AEW. What do you think about the women there? Who, like, I mean, obviously Britt Baker is the as we know. I love seeing everything that she's doing. And as names just kind of keep making their way through. What do you think of the women's division right now?
I think it's great. I think Thunder Rosa is great.
Yes.
I mean, you got Serena, you know, and I know her she's injured right now, but like the fact that she's somebody back there coaching, nobody better. Yeah. But those two stick out as in-ring competitors.
I saw that one of the reasons that you wanted to sign with AEW was because of the way of the handling of everything backstage to it not being leaked out about Brody Lee when he was sick.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's self-explanatory. You know, I think everybody always talks about the business and how it's a family, and that's never, you know, that's never. I think that's just a naive way to look at it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's people in charge that don't give a and this was a breath of fresh air. It was a horrible horrible situation. Like, I mean, I think I found out like Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What a, you know, and as far as I know, like he went to the hospital like on Halloween.
Yeah.
So it was like oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was even, see, there you go.
Yeah.
There's just something to be said about not running to the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a nugget of information, and whatever, I don't know, whatever high you get from being somebody in the know.
Yeah.
And talking about stuff that really is nobody else's business. And everybody just kept their mouths shut for, you know, as a request from, you know, somebody who unfortunately, you know, became a widow. And I look at that and it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen if it was anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I go, that's neat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's nobody's business. Yeah. I understand people like to see how the sausage is made and they're into the backstage salacious stuff, but it's nobody's business.
Yeah, it's nice to see people just actually be
and to see it protected.
Yeah.
It made me think, well, maybe, you know, maybe there's hope.
There could be some hope. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's all happening. I mean, this Sunday, you will be stepping into the ring yet again. It is going to be clobbering time. We got the Living Color music.
Yeah.
Tony's good for that, huh? How did that work out? How did you pull that off?
Well, actually, I was waiting because I was hush hush on everything.
Yeah.
And then they called me and they're like, "Hey, somebody's trying to get the rights to the music, and if it's you, cool. If it's not, if it's not, they can off."
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's
my
me.
guys. I was like, I go,
yeah.
Saddle up, boys. We're rolling.
So exciting. I cannot wait to be there to see this.
I'm glad you're going to be there.
Me too. I'm like beaming about it. I'm so excited to see this. I can't believe that this is actually happening, that we get to see CM Punk back in a ring wrestling. I truly was not sure if it was ever going to happen again. I mean, I would always kind of like poke and prod here and there and never really knew it was going to happen. But now that it's actually here, it's cool as all hell. Could not be more excited for you. Get to do it here in Chicago. We get to be in person. Get to do this show.
I don't know if Nora's coming to that show, so you're gonna have to be the mom. No, not your Nora, my Nora.
Oh, you're Nora.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be mom with Banana
I'll bring you
backstage
Banana
because I'm gonna be freaking out.
I'll bring you a banana. I will bring not Jet's pizza. I'll bring something better.
I might
maybe
be eating pizza Sunday.
Yeah, definitely.